My name is Raquel Garzon, and I'm a Latina role model. My advice to you is to always be yourself, be authentic, and to do always what you believe is the right thing.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Cooper and I'm a Latina role model. If you want to do what I did in my life, you want a success for your life, stay focused. Don't stop believing in yourself. Write down your goals and I will see you at the top.
Good evening and welcome back to Latina Role Models. I am your host, Sandra Rivera, and today we are speaking with Flor Velez. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Flor, can you tell us what company you're here representing?
I represent Hispanic Business Human Resources, and we're known as HBHR. And we are a full-service human resources company, and we do compliance, training, and staffing.
Okay. And how long have you had that business?
Nearly a year now. Will be a year in September, which is the Hispanic Heritage Month.
Okay, all right. And what exactly do you do there? Now you said you do compliance and some consulting and staffing, but what specifically, what role do you serve in the community?
Okay, in terms of compliance, we service Hispanic entrepreneurs with anything that has to do with human resources compliance. And with that, I mean developing procedures and policies, employee handbooks. We ensure that these clients are in compliance with the law. They have their postings, their folders, and basically we help them with hiring and everything that has to do with human resources. What makes us unique is that all of our services are provided fully bilingual, Spanish and English. So for Hispanic businesses, it's truly an advantage when they could have us provide our services fully bilingual in anything, either compliance, training, or staffing.
Okay, and you service Hispanic businesses, but do you have other clients that maybe aren't owned by Hispanic entrepreneurs? Do you offer those same services to any business?
Yes, we do. We offer services to big corporations, any type of corporation or businesses. It could be on hotels, it can be on insurance companies, on hospitals. Again, what makes us unique is because if a client needs staffing that's fully bilingual, they will contact us.
Okay.
Even if they have their human resources department and they have a need to offer their new hire orientation, probably in Spanish, or certain trainings that should be conducted in Spanish because their workforce requires that.
Okay.
So then they will contact us. So I serve as a liaison with the human resources department of these big corporations as well.
Okay, so you work with big corporations and you also work with smaller corporations.
Correct.
Also?
Correct.
Okay, so for those companies that may not have a department dedicated to human resources, you kind of fill that gap for them on a as-need basis?
As-need basis, basically in that term I'll be a consultant, so if they need me to do a mediation between any type of employee or situation they have, they will contact me and I'll go directly and try to help them with that issue.
Okay. What are the benefits to a company to have somebody like you and your staff available to them for their Spanish-speaking employees?
It truly is a very big advantage when you have someone that comes to your company and will be able to help you mediate with your employees that are Hispanic. Hispanics usually like to have an understanding in their main language. So if I go to a company and we go over policies, procedures, new hire orientation, it boosts the morale because it's a better way for the employee to understand those policies. Sometimes it gives them the opportunity to feel comfortable to ask questions that I can fully explain in Spanish because I have my expertise in human resources, so I'm going to be able to explain exactly anything that's in those policies written in English, and I'll be able to explain in Spanish. So it boosts the morale and it resolves a lot of different issues for clients.
Right. And so I guess it would create a friendlier work environment between the employer and the employee if everybody understands their rights and understands the law and they're all on the same page.
It sure does, and it feels like the employees will be more committed to the company when they have a full understanding of all of those policies, procedures, or anything that has to do with company benefits. Sometimes they don't have fully understanding of their benefits that are offered by a company, or things that are the company are following because are following the law. So when we explain that to them, it makes sense, and it makes them more committed, and definitely a more positive work environment for both of them.
Sure. So it sounds like a lot of what you do is education as well,
Sure is.
for both the employer and the employee. Do you ever find that when you're educating the employees on some of these rights and the regulations, do you ever feel any pushback or resistance from the employers who it obviously is going to affect?
I sure do, and especially with small companies and with the Hispanic entrepreneurs, because if they come specifically from Puerto Rico and they're used to a different state law, so it takes a little bit of effort from my end to have them understand that we have a federal law in common, but in terms of the state law, Florida, it's a little bit different than Puerto Rico, and certain things have to be a little bit different in terms of benefits or bonuses or salary wage, and we have to be in compliance statewide.
Right.
So I do get that a little bit of resistance, but it's great that I can fully explain to them and they get to understand what we have to do and other things that we could be flexible on.
Sure. What about on the employer side? I mean, you're teaching their employees what they can and should expect in the workplace. Do you ever have any conflict with the employers, with your clients, in communicating that information?
I do, and specifically if they call me for an employee resolution, so if there was originally an issue and I go through all the statements and I made my investigation, once we come to a resolution and an outcome on that, and I have to tell the employee, okay, these are the reasons why you were violating this policy, and you either going to be written up or you're going to be terminated. It's not easy to let the employee know they are right. What you were doing was completely not in compliance or out of policy, and for this reason you'll be terminated. And even if I explain in Spanish, they'll be able to understand it. Not happy about the decision, but then it comes the part of, oh, I didn't know. I didn't speak English properly, or I didn't understand. We didn't have that communication. They should give me a break, or they should give me a chance, because now I know. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Once the relationship or the policy has been violated, unfortunately, the employee is terminated.
Right. Now, you mentioned that you also offer bilingual services, Spanish-speaking professionals, and I understand that there are a lot of people in the community and the workforce that speak Spanish, but you're looking for a different level of Spanish speaker. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Correct. We ensure our clients that once they put an order with us for a candidate, that this candidate can fully communicate in both languages. And when we say fully, we mean professionally, in the areas of expertise that they should have. And we do pre-screening, so we ensure this person will be able to communicate, speak, read, write, and translate if it is necessary at any given point. So the employee will sit there and probably speak English maybe the most of the day, but the minute someone walks in that doesn't speak English and they have to communicate in Spanish, they effectively will be able to do that using professional vocabulary, and then serve the product or do the service professionally for the guests as they deserve.
So there is no difference in how they treat a potential customer, whether it's in English or Spanish. You're getting the same level of professionalism.
That's correct, and it is very important for our clients, and that's why you see that a lot of different entrepreneurs or companies are enforcing that they are fully bilingual, because the customers will complain if they call a line that says if you select Spanish and they cannot understand the person in the other side of the phone because they're not fully bilingual, then they come back and complain to the customer.
Right. Right. Now, how do you find your pool of candidates for that? Do you stay within the Florida area, or do you go elsewhere to find potential candidates for that?
We do a lot postings in different job boards and engines here in Florida, but we also participated in the Florida Expo that was made in Puerto Rico in the month of March. We have approximately probably around 400 resumes from different professionals. We were very overwhelmed and surprised how many professionals from Puerto Rico are looking forward to move to Florida. And by that I mean doctors, lawyers, engineers, and any type of professional that are moving. So we have that pool, and when it is necessary and we have an order, we search within those resumes and we call them, we pre-screen them, and some of them are looking forward to move immediately, others are looking forward to move probably within 30 or 60 days. So we are basically in contact with them all the time to ensure that we can place them here.
Sure. So you're in constant contact with these employers, and then obviously with the people that you staff them with. Do you maintain those relationships even after you've placed them? Do you have that connection with them?
Yes, I do. And even we place in different areas. So we do seasonal, we do temp to hire, we do direct hire. So we are always in constant communication to ensure that that it was a fit, that they're happy where they were placed, that if there's anything, they can call us back, and we are in contact with the client as well to ensure that the candidates that we put in place are exactly meeting their expectations.
Okay. Now, how did you get into this? Where did you start?
Well, I've been working on human resources for a couple of years, and I started in Puerto Rico. I work for different manufacturing companies, which are very strong in Puerto Rico. And from there, I moved to the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas. I work in one of the big hotels there as human resources. And there I did a lot of hiring for international students as well, which is one area that I have my experience and I like a lot. They're also bilingual, not in Spanish, but in different type of languages. And from there, I was transferred here to Orlando, and I was transferred to open this hotel that was here in the Kissimmee area, where I made a startup probably with around more than 200 employees. And so I've been having different type of experiences in the human resources area. I do have my studies as a human resources management.
Okay.
And so basically, that's how I've been taking my experience, but I always wanted to do a company on my own. One of my biggest challenges has always been working with the Hispanic community, searching for candidates, making sure that they are fully bilingual, and translating for them, and I will be called to different areas to help translate training, or managers from departments having challenges. So I see the need, and I have experienced that need through all my professional human resources years. And at the end, I worked for this hotel that unfortunately closed. And I was living on property because I was the executive HR. And at that point, I lost my job as I terminated all the employees. And I basically ended up on the street because it was my job and my home. And from years of struggle and seeing all of the situations, I did a lot of consulting for closing companies here in Florida.
You did that a lot.
I did that a lot, and it's the ugly part probably from HR that we don't like to do, and but we have to. And I saw that need. I always had that passion of doing something to help.
Right.
And that's how HBHR basically was born, with the necessity of looking at helping the Hispanic community and offering the clients also that resource. We are very unique. There are no other company specializes in fully bilingual Hispanic workforce professionals in this case.
Sure. You've had an extensive history in human resources. What do you feel are some of the traits or qualities that help you best in your profession, or that you would tell anybody, if this is a field that you want to go into, these are some qualities that you should either possess or try to work on?
Definitely, with human resources, there are so many, and being the integrity of a human resources, the confidentiality, the passion that I have to do what I do, was the key. I'm a very organized person, and that's totally something different. But I'm empathetic, and I'm very empathetic with the employees because I struggle as a woman, as a single mom, and I worked for staffing agencies as well back in Puerto Rico for a few years when I couldn't find a job. So I have full understanding on what it is to change or to search or to feel that you want to be part of a company. And of course, I was discriminated at some point as an employee because it happened to me a couple of times. And one of the things I did once also was report with EEOC a discrimination on my behalf, even being a human resources. So I was the advocate for employees on this, but I was also a victim of that.
Right.
And then again, all of those things that I have as an experience help me do a better job, help me take care of my clients, make sure that they are in compliance, and make sure that the employees are protected, and that's basically my goal.
Yeah. What advice would you give to another Latina woman coming up, aspiring to be something, and what she needs to do when she encounters struggles?
Okay, I would say that there's no big struggle or problem that can take you away from your goals and your dreams. You can always pursue that regardless. You can go back to school, search for education, change your career if it's necessary, and search for other resources. There's a lot of resources out there that we don't know about that can help you pursue your dream and your goals. Don't ever let anyone stop you, and do that as a woman, as a mom, as a professional, and you'll be able to make it like I did.
Well, thank you so much for what you're doing. I appreciate it. Best of luck.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, thank you for joining us at Latina Role Models. To J. Michael and all the viewers out there, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.
Hi, my name is Lisa Pino. I'm a Latina role model. I am a student at the University of Central Florida, graduating with her communication degree in December. My advice to students is to stay focused, stay dedicated, and don't let challenges bring you down.
It is not about the goal, it is about the road. Remember to keep dreaming, live genuinely, and never stop dreaming. Pursue your dreams, but enjoy the moment.
Welcome back to Latina Role Models. My next guest is Velez Hu, and she is with iHeartRadio. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Could you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yes, I work for iHeartMedia. You know, I sell advertising. I work with clients on helping them with their marketing campaigns and coming up with solutions to their marketing needs. So I work with a lot of different industries. It's kind of fun. I get to work with different types of businesses, so I learn a lot about different industries.
So you've been in this industry for quite some time, right? How long have you been?
It'll be 17 years soon.
Oh, wow. Okay. And has it always been in advertising?
Yes. I started as an intern in promotions.
Okay.
And then did an internship in advertising, and I stayed there. So I've been there now for, 3 different companies, but same industry.
Sure. And you weren't always intending on going into this field. There was another field that you originally had planned on entering into. What was that at?
I wanted to be a TV reporter, actually. Went to college for radio and television broadcasting.
Okay.
And while I was in college, one of the general managers for a radio company was my professor. And, you know, he saw something and he said, you know, have you ever thought about going into advertising? And offered me an internship in radio. And so I tried it, and a couple months into it, he hired me.
And so you have a little bit of prior knowledge of radio. You have family that was in it. Can you tell us?
My father was a radio personality on air, and my mom was a salesperson as well. So I kind of came from the background of radio and thought, that's not what I want to do. And I ended up doing the family business.
Right, right. So when you were presented with that opportunity, you had one goal or one direction that you were going in. How did you decide to put that goal aside? Was that a difficult decision to leave that and go down a different path?
I think it just kind of happened naturally. I intended to do the internship and then try TV the next semester, and I really liked it. So it just seemed like a natural fit for me, and I continued to do it. And I was successful at it, which is always, you know, a nice sign that you're doing the right thing, and
Right.
it's motivation. So
Good. And so what were some of the challenges that you initially faced when you got into that industry at first?
well, when I started, you know, you come fresh out of college, you're young, maybe not as aggressive, and this industry is very cutthroat, you know, a lot of fun stuff, but a lot of people that have a lot of experience, that are very strong personalities. So initially it was a little bit challenging because I had to kind of develop a thick skin and know that you don't take things personal, and you fight for what you have worked for and what you've earned. So I had to mature really quickly.
Right. Probably two of the bigger lessons
Yes.
in business. Now, when you were growing up, how did that desire to get into that industry develop?
Well, I always knew that I wanted to work hard to be able to provide for my family and to be able to not worry about how I was going to pay my bills, or, you know, my parents worked very hard growing up, and I saw the struggles that they had, and I wanted to make sure that I could provide for my family and be able to enjoy, you know, taking vacations and not always struggling on, you know, how to pay the next month's rent, or, you know.
Right. And you are a first generation, your parents are from Mexico?
Yes, my parents came from Mexico at a very young age. Both came illegally, actually, in search of a better life for themselves. And they were migrant farm workers,
Okay.
and worked very hard to, I'm the oldest of 5, and they worked very hard to make sure that I got a good education. When I actually started going to school, they decided they weren't going to travel for work anymore, and they were going to settle down so that I could grow up in a you know, consistent environment and be able to go to the same school, and education was very important to them for me.
Right. And so when you graduated from college, you had all your family there, and you said you were the first graduate in your family, or first person to graduate college in your family. What was that like?
It was exciting for them. You know, I've had siblings and cousins. Now I actually just went to my cousin's graduation this past weekend, and it was very nice to be able to set the pace for the rest of my family, because no one had graduated from college previously.
Okay. And what do you, with iHeartMedia, do you foresee yourself being in advertising indefinitely? Where would you like to take your career to the next level?
You know, I feel like it's different in the industry that I do. Your growth is really your, you know, your goals, and whether it's management or having a better year than your previous year. And I've been thankful that I've actually been able to grow my business every year. And who knows? I mean, I'd like possibly management, or, you know, moving into a you know, a different specialized level within the company. So
Good. Now, when you work with your clients, do you stay with them throughout the entire process of promoting their business, and even after? Are you able to see the rewards that they experience as a result of the media campaign that you help them create?
yes, it's nice because you get to start from the ground level when they are. Sometimes it's, you know, people who are already in business and are just looking for a way to market themselves to grow their business, and so I get to work with them from the beginning, from asking them questions about what their needs are, to putting together the proposal, starting the campaign with them, evaluating the campaign to see how it worked, and then continuing to renew it. And it's very, very exciting when you see their business grow and you're able to grow with them. You almost become like an employee of theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously there's so many different forms of media out there, different ways to promote your business, whether it's online or radio or TV, anything. I mean, it's limitless. Why do you feel it's so important to have a strong media campaign in the world we live in today if you're trying to promote a business?
Well, that's how you're able to get your business known. And so you want to advertise, whether it's word of mouth or whether it's, you know, online or media. you always want to make sure that you're getting your message out there. And when I meet with clients, I meet with all different levels of clients, from someone who may only have $500 to spend to someone who may have thousands of dollars. And I always recommend what's right for them. And sometimes radio isn't right for them, so I recommend whatever the right thing is.
Okay. How demanding is that profession of you and your time?
It's really demanding. I mean, it's, I would say that I never stop working, because you're always thinking about, I'm watching TV and I'm thinking about, oh, that's a new business coming, I need to call them tomorrow. So there's always, I'm always thinking about it, but it does offer me the flexibility as well to be able to spend time with my family, which is important.
Right. And you have 2 little ones?
Yes, I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Okay. And in your line of work, do you have the opportunity to spend a lot of time with them, or does that really just come from you and making sure you have the time?
I do spend time with them. I have a great support system. My husband is a huge help, and he's been with me actually since the beginning when I started in radio, so he understands the industry and is very supportive, so I'm able to do things with my kids. Sometimes he meets me, we have a soccer game and I end up meeting them out at the field, but we're able to have a nice work-life balance. Right,
so the key is to have that family support, whether it comes in the form of a husband or parents or other family members.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you have ties to radio, that your father was a radio personality. Was that here in the States or was that in Mexico?
It was here in South Florida. I'm actually from Homestead.
Okay.
So he was on an AM station in Homestead, and he actually got to broadcast during Hurricane Andrew when the hurricane was happening, to encourage people to evacuate. So he stayed on air, encouraging people to leave, and I think he was able to help a lot of people.
Good. You mentioned that you are Mexican, you're from Mexico. How have you, or how did your parents promote your culture, maintain your culture living in the States?
Well, we did a few things. I mean, in the house, I had to speak Spanish. It was very important to them that I learned Spanish, so I wasn't allowed to speak English. If I did, they wouldn't answer me. And I also they had me as part of a dance group, Mexican folkloric dance group, so I danced Mexican head dance, and we made sure that was a big part of our family culture.
Promoting that.
I'm hoping that I can continue to instill that in my children.
That was my next question. Do you plan on doing that with your kids? Okay, good. So in your profession, do you have the opportunity to talk to people about what you do, or help people who maybe want internships in that field as well?
We do have an opportunity to offer internships. It's another person that handles it within my company, but I highly recommend it. I feel like that's how I started, and that's how you get your foot in the door. Everybody that I've met in this industry has been able to, I've been able to establish a relationship with that has helped me in the future. And a lot of times, it's how you get hired. You work hard, you show them what you're capable of, and it leads to jobs.
Right. So keeping your mind open to other possibilities. I mean, when you spoke earlier about having one path in the direction of TV, and another opportunity presented itself to you, you had enough courage to follow that and see where it took you.
Yes.
So, and I see that it's been successful for you. Do you have any recommendations to people who are watching, any advice for somebody who either wants to get into this field or has their own plan for their life? What do you recommend in terms of reaching those goals?
I recommend that they work hard, that they do internships, whether it's internships or volunteer work in the industry that they're interested in, and always be willing to go the extra mile. Sometimes I find a lot of people are like, no, this isn't my job, or I don't have to do that. But when you go that extra mile, you become memorable, and you become valuable to the company, and you learn more. You end up possibly learning an experience that you maybe didn't even know was there.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for watching this week's edition of Latino Role Models. I'm your host, Sandra Rivera. Good night.
Are you proud to be Hispanic?
Hispanics in Florida now have the first Hispanic car license plate in the United States.
Be a proud Hispanic.
Put the Hispanic plate on your car.
I want to be a doctor.
I want to be a scientist.
I want to be an engineer.
I want to be a police officer.
I want to be a professional dancer.
By getting the Hispanic plate for your car,
You will support scholarships and community programs.
Call now or visit HispanicAchievers.org.
This show has been brought to you by Boricua Beer.